So the problem with picking vehicles up, and you're gonna fix them and resell them, right? You call it a flipper. Well, we got one bad power steering line, so therefore, me being me, I ended up with brake calipers, brakes, rotors, all the way around. Not just the power steering line, but all of them, because the transmission lines look terrible. So I went ahead and got those too. We'll be putting those in. We already did the back. That was pads, rotors, calipers were good, but we replaced the coil springs. So just as a quick flip, it's not a quick flip. I mean, back in the day, yes, I could have just quick flipped it, but I want to make sure it's right. And I'm pretty sure it's already sold. And by the way, the bumper cover, as you could see, apparently we hit a deer or something at some point, whoever had it, but we had a little mishap here, okay? And I was thinking to myself, what do we do with that? That looks terrible. So yeah, I bought a new bumper cover too. That'll be showing up next week sometime. I probably won't be putting that on right away, but when I do, I will. The problem is, I thought it was just the bumper cover corner, but apparently on these avalanches, it's the complete unit. It goes down, up along the headlight, and it's the whole middle grill area. The chrome comes out of the grill. That chrome piece goes in the new one, but it's all one piece, and I didn't know that. But I bought it anyway. Let's just make it look decent. So, quick flip. That's what we're doing. We're Sunday morning. Let's get this thing together and make something happen. We'll do this the old-fashioned way. I went and put the caliper on. It's brand new, so the pistons are fully compressed. As I move over to the other side to do that, I just cracked the bleeder open, and we are going to let this bleed out. Once I get fluid dripping out of here, we'll be good to go on the bleeding portion of this project. This side we've already assembled because I had this put together before I realized the other caliper was bad. That being said, if the other caliper's bad, I'm just going to replace them both. So, crimped off my line right here, which is not standard. I understand there's line crimpers. I don't have those tools. So, I'm using my needle nose. I did just break this loose first with a ratchet, so don't think I'm doing it with an impact. That would be bad. Because this truck being a little crusty like it is, it wouldn't take much to break that off. And I expected it to break, but it didn't. So the thing about crimping your hoses like this is just so the fluid doesn't run out, excuse me, while we're changing the caliper. Now, they make tools to crush these or close them, okay? You can let them run if you have a lot of oil and someone's up there feeding it to it and you're fast, but I'm crimping this one off. Now, the thing about that is when you crimp those hoses off, inside these hoses, the older ones, most importantly, there's two layers of rubber. You have your outer layer, and then you have a stitching on the inside, and then you have an inner layer of rubber. So if you go ahead and crimp these off, sometimes what will happen is the inside will collapse, but you won't know it because the outside looks good. Then what happens is when you press on the brake, fluid comes through the hose, goes into the caliper, your brakes lock up. When you let off the pedal, that fluid will not go back because it's collapsed on the inside. It works as a valve. That's something to be aware of when you are crimping your lines off like that, that you possibly could have one get damaged, or maybe it's already damaged. I'm wondering that myself. I was thinking, should I just replace the brake hoses as I go here, but we're in deeper than we want to be. Crazy, because I just put this on and it's tight. I might have to get Mr. Impact 5000 here. Wow, why is that so tight? I just had it off. All right, let me go get an impact socket. And apparently the air gun 52, I can't believe it's that tight. Now by chance we don't have a 19. Oh, look at that. The socket is already on here. Huh. Let's get the Mr. Leaky air hose. I was going to fix this the other day because when you plug the tool in, it makes a lot of noise. And I forgot, so unless it fixed itself, it's going to sound terrible. Oh, look at that, it fixed itself. All right, we're on backwards uppers. Backer upper gear. Oh my gosh. This thing is so crusty. I don't understand it. It's like it's been sitting in salt water. I'm taking the whole bracket and everything off of this one because it's just easier. And then once I get it off, I can just pop the shoes out of here, which are new. Bracket and everything should come off. Look, it's hanging right onto the rotor. She's shot. Get off my new rotor. Make sure you dump oil everywhere. Alright, let's go ahead and zip this off because I need stuff here. Of course, you're not going to be able to because this has a replacement slider and it's not going to cooperate. You know, I should have just got the calipers right off the bat before I even started this the other day. I should have just got the calipers, not asked questions, and just change them. Just be done. Okay, get off there. That needs to go to the oil pan so I can drain it. Take our new pads off. Bracket, maybe. Okay. Unbelievable. We're going to have to buff these down a little more. These new pads, when you get them, what I like to do, and I did it to these, but they're still tight, I take a little buffer and I just buff off the top of them because the casting makes it a little bigger than the originals, and then they don't like to slide like they're supposed to. And the caliper bracket, let me get rid of this, put it in the drain pan, check the bleeder on the other side, see if it's running yet. Yeah, I'm not seeing any action in the bleeder over here. That's not good. Alright, we can get rid of these clips because we have new ones. And they are right here. Yeah, I was gonna say, really? They're that tight? It's a little ridiculous, guys. They only need to be put together finger tight for shipping, not hammer down. Alright, I'm going to find my caliper bracket bolts, which are here. Put a little never seize on there so I get some never seize on my hand. And then everything I touch will be silver. And this is just for the next guy. This isn't going to benefit me. This will be the first and last brake job I do on this truck. Where's my rack? This is why I should have cleaned off the tool cart. I wouldn't have to run back and forth all day long. I could just stay in one spot and do the job. Yep, that goes in there. There you go. Let's switch the socket again. Let's just touch that one time with the air, just because it's good if your caliper doesn't fall off. That is my scientifically metered torque air gun. It's the Ooga Dooga factor. 4 Ooga Doogas puts it where it needs to be. Let's slide our little brackets in here. Maybe. Well, I already have grease on these from when they were put together the first time. I put grease on both ends of these pads, so just because they say to, I really can't tell you if it does anything. Some says it do, some say it don't. It's in New York, it's just going to rust right away anyway. Alright, maybe we'll put a little never seize on the caliper bolts too, just because we're a nice guy. Had a little incident here one time at the shop. I was out doing some trucking, and I don't know, maybe I was on a job site or something, but I was pretty sure I was doing some trucking. What is going on? What's my malfunction with bolts today? I kind of want to do put the bolt in and flip it up like a cool guy. That's what I did on the other side, but there we go. Anyway, we had a little incident with brake calipers, and it would be that truck in the background. I don't know if you can see it. The front of this right there, that truck right there. I was on the job site, and I come back to the shop, and it was later at night, and 2 guys were here in the shop, and they're like, we can't get these brakes to bleed. I'm like, oh, well, what's going on? I don't know, we put new calipers on, and we just can't get all the air out. Well, life lesson. It was one guy that has a little mechanical experience with another guy that had a whole lot of mechanical experience, which at least that's what he said. The caliper was on wrong. And when I say that is on the bigger Ford trucks, you have 3 portholes. You have one for your hose, You have a porthole here and a porthole here. And they do that because those calipers on those trucks, some of them, are universal. They'll work for right or left. Most of the vehicles, you have a right and a left caliper, and the only difference is where this bleeder screw is. The bleeder screw always has to be the highest point on the caliper. It's just like bleeding anything else, getting air out. Whatever you want to bleed, air is going to come to the highest point. So if you have this bleeder on the bottom, down here, you're going to have air trapped up here in this piston. It's never going to come out. So, lesson learned. And as soon as I said it, they're like, oh, really? We can't believe we did that. Well, you did. And that's why it won't bleed. Because it's in the wrong spot. So, the other thing that I'm famous for is we have a new banjo bolt right here. They call this a banjo bolt. It has a hole in the bottom and two little holes on the side. And this goes on your brake hose. The fluid goes in here and comes out down the bottom. That's how that works. I am famous for using the original banjo bolt because if it wasn't leaking, put it back on, it probably won't leak again. I've always had a lot of problems with these washers, these crush washers, the copper washers, especially the new ones. They leak. I'd rather use the old ones that seat and know where they were and put them back in there and see how they are. If they leak, then I'll change it out for the new one. If they don't, good for them. They know they're home. Let's put them back where they know where they live. Because those crush washers, they actually mold to that bolt. So, all right, we got that on. Let's crack this bleeder open. We're going to do the same thing with this bleeder as we did the other side. I'm going to take the vice grips off the line. We're going to see how long it takes for fluid to come out of there. I'm probably going to hop up and see what the fluid looks like because there's nothing running over on the other side yet. Fluid's good, but I didn't take the cap off. We're going to want to loosen this cap right here because if we're creating a vacuum, it's not going to drain. It's not going to bleed. So let's take a walk over the other side and see what we're looking at. Any drippage over here yet? Let me do the other side. We'll get the other side running, and then we'll come over to this side and recheck this side. Now you can power bleed them. If you have help, they can get in there and pump the pedal. You can close it, they can pump the pedal, and then you open it with their foot on the pedal. You can bleed it that way. I also do have a power bleeder, but I don't feel like getting it out. I'm gonna try and do this first. See how this works. 9 times out of 10, I've never had this not work, so we're gonna do that. I'm sure they will work. So that being said, I'm gonna leave this one open. Like I said, we're gonna let that drip out, get bleeding. I'll let you know how that works out. We got to get underneath and change these lines, and boy, that's going to be a good time. Okay, as you can see, we got some drippage going on. See it dripping like I said it would. You're going to see air bubbles in the end of this a little bit, and probably not a lot because these calipers are new, they're fully compressed. Once you see them a steady drip, you can go ahead and turn this off, and then we'll go over to the other side and try that. We will even put our protective rubber back on there. Let's go to the other side. And you see master cylinder than the other side, so it might take a little bit longer, but that side started draining in no time flat. So, and that's usually how fast it works. And you can see it's already dripping. Once we get a nice decent drip coming out, which looks like we have, there shouldn't be a lot of air in there. I crimped the hose off back here and there's only 6 inches. Just snug, don't want it too tight. Well, okay, I'm gonna box up these old parts, or at least move them out of the way. I gotta throw the wheels on here because I can't do the steering lines with the jack under the front end. That would be a big pain. So I'm gonna slap the wheels on this thing and then we'll come back and we will work on some lines. And not too excited about the transmission lines.